Good morning and welcome to panel number 2 of the Partner to Scale Summit number 3. I am Tommy Marks, the director of the Federal Procurement Center and host of today's events. And I have with me 3 distinguished colleagues that work in the small business arena and that are passionate about what they do. And they have graciously accepted my invitation to come and share with us today what their organizations do from a mission perspective and what possibly opportunities that exist for you to do business with them. I will share a little bit about each one of them, and then after that, we will go into a Q&A session. They will actually share about their organizations, and then we'll go into a Q&A session. So I will start with thanking Mr. Purvis Broughton, who is from the Veterans Administration. He's the director of Direct Access Programs, and where he's responsible for all the facets of planning and executing business networking for the Office of Disadvantaged Business Utilization, of Small Business Disadvantaged Utilization, which includes their National Veteran Small Business Engagement. He is the authority, the technical authority on the OSBU strategic communications and initiatives to educate and help develop veteran-owned small businesses and other firms to include providing information on organization services. So we want to thank Mr. Broughton for being here, and we look forward to his sharing of information and his comments. Also with us today from Health and Human Services, but in particular from the Center for Disease Control, Ms. Gwendolyn Miles, who is here to share with us. She has been the face of small business in CDC since 2011, and she's known throughout the country and specifically in the Atlanta area, in the state of Georgia, where she operates, and she also works on a national level with the National Contract Management Agency, where she's been recognized for her work. So Gwen, thanks for being here. And finally, we have Ms. Lashon Goodman-Cooper, who I had the pleasure of working with before I retired. She's from the United States Corps of Engineers, and specifically, she's out of Atlanta, where she's the Assistant Director for Small Business for the Atlanta South Atlantic Division for the Corps of Engineers. Her primary responsibilities, she helps manage those 5 districts that obligates about $2.4 billion. And what's unique about where she comes from is most people think of the Corps of Engineers, because it's an Army organization, about the warfighting side of the house, but a bigger portion of what they do is the civil side of the house. If you drive over a bridge and it's on federal highway, then that bridge has most likely been built by the Corps of Engineers. And so throughout the United States, there's a business on the civil side of the house that a lot of times we're not aware of. So this is the group of esteemed panelists and subject matter experts that will share with us today. And we kick off first with Mr. Broughton sharing about his organization.
And good afternoon, actually good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Antoine Broughton. As said earlier, I am director for VA OSBU's Direct Access Program and Strategic Outreach and Communications. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, what the VA does, focus on, our mission and, where we're spending money in a very macro level, 10,000 foot level. And as you're hearing this information, just transition that information to thinking about, where does your business fit within these core areas, these focused areas, okay? In response to the pandemic, the department received $19.6 billion in supplemental emergency funding from the CARES and the Families First Act. The funding was primarily allocated to the Medical Services Program, which received approximately $14.3 billion, or 73% of the funds. The remaining $5.3 billion was allocated to the Information Technology Systems, medical community care, and similar programs. As of late last year, 38% of the total funding had been obligated. And those funds were obligated through fiscal year 2021 for 19.557 billion in funding through FY22 for the additional 72.5 million. Now, VA has 4 strategic goals: customer service, the Mission Act, the electronic health record, and business transformation. And the last being suicide prevention. So as you're thinking about, where you fit into providing or trying to provide the department products and services, think about those 4 key areas. Now, OSDBU, as its primary mission, is the liaison between the Small Business Administration, the Department of Commerce, and the General Services Administration. Okay, and our primary focus is enabling veterans to gain access to economic opportunity by leveraging the federal procurement system and expanding the participation in procurement-ready small businesses. So let me just park there for a second. So when we talk about, veterans to gain access, we have a saying in VA OSDBU: veterans first, but not veterans only. And what I mean by that, the VA is the only federal agency that has a mandate, a legislative mandate, to do a set-aside program for veteran-owned small businesses. Firms who get verified by our Center for Verification and Evaluation, CVE, are then considered a VA verified service-disabled veteran-owned small business or veteran-owned small businesses. And that is one of the steps that a firm would need to take in order to compete for, again, I emphasize compete for, set-aside contracts. So going back to my statement of veterans first, veterans only, what I mean by that is this: the department procures from a variety of firms in different socioeconomic categories. We have goals, like many federal agencies, for women-owned small business, Hub Zone, 8A. Okay, so when we say veterans first, not veterans only, that's what that phrase is intended to convey, that we do business with veteran-owned small business as mandated, but we also procure products and services from other firms, to include large firms, okay? And so we fulfill our responsibility to veteran-owned small business by hosting small business events, which showcase VA potential procurement opportunities. We also conduct training webinars and collaborative events with industry partners and other government agencies. And that's one of the unique things about VA OSDBU. Since 2019, we have expanded our approach to making a way for veteran-owned small businesses and other small businesses in different socioeconomic categories. One of the key things that I'm proud to say that through the developing relationships with industry, we have gone down the path where we will approach a large firm or even a medium-sized firm to find out if there's opportunities for either subcontracting or teaming with veteran-owned small businesses or other small businesses. My team does the work with respect to helping that particular host, what we call our partner, whether it be another government agency or the industry partner. We will do the work to conduct the event, and as a requirement, and I look at each one of these events, the requirement is what's in it for small businesses, what's in it for veteran-owned small businesses. And so by taking that approach, we're able to leverage our position as well as make a way for small businesses. And so I call that a 3-way win, a trifecta of wins. It's a win for small businesses because now instead of going to maybe 4 or 5 different events, based on the relationships that we set up with other government agencies and industry, a small business, a veteran-owned small business or other small business participant potentially can make contact with other entities to do business that they may not have been able to do on themselves, or quite frankly, that the time it would take to do that would just be a lot of time. And so that's how the win. It's a win for us because we're able to advocate for the utilization of veteran-owned small businesses and other small businesses. It's a win for the small business participant because now they don't have to necessarily do a bunch of cold calls and things like that to potentially make contact, because again, you have to put your hook in the water to see if you're going to get a fish. And then lastly, it's a win for the host, because now, based on the information that we glean both before the event and after event, they are able to ideally add some other firms as part of their capture management team that they can have some type of relationship with, potentially, whether it be subcontracting or teaming. And so those are the things that I think that that I'm most proud of, and that VA OSDBU will continue to do in the future. Again, we're trying to make a way for not just veteran-owned small businesses, but other small businesses, albeit that veteran-owned small businesses is our primary focus. Okay. So as a result of COVID, the department was taking information from small businesses about PPE. In June of last year, the Chief Acquisition Officer discontinued that practice and guided firms to monitor beta.sam.gov for solicitations regarding COVID-19 procurements. It's speculated that testing, telehealth, and telemedicine and PPE will be among the top focus areas. So what I encourage firms to do is to continue to look at the VA's forecast of contracting opportunities. That particular link is a part of the handouts that this esteemed group is going to provide to you. And that's where you want to find the VA's procurement opportunities. Again, it is a forecast, ladies and gentlemen. So always remember, just like with any forecast, the forecast may be for rain, 50% chance of rain, and it may not rain, or it may rain. So just please bear that in mind. The next thing I want to talk about is, if I think that the money for COVID relief that we received will mean more business for small business. And I say yes, those details are being formulated each and every day. Your key avenue to find out about upcoming procurement opportunities, as I said before, is the VA's forecast of contracting opportunities. Also, if you are interested in conducting events, participating in events with VA OSDBU, as part of the information that you'll receive, it'll have a web link to our events page. Again, we're doing events for free. My team is doing events for free with such large agencies as Verizon, AT&T, 3M. We've done events with the United States Postal Service. And we're also obviously showcasing the procurement opportunities for the VA itself. So again, please visit our webpage, and that's where you can see the upcoming events. I'm currently working on building out my 2022 schedule. Typically at the end of the year, between October and December, things slow down because people are getting ready for the holidays and so forth. And then about mid-January, things pick back up. But again, visit our website regularly, take a look at what we have there, because there's a variety of things. Sometimes it's construction, sometimes it's IT, sometimes it's professional services, just a variety of things. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about is our procurement decision makers. So we use that term to identify those individuals who are going to influence a product or service procurement, PDM. And so we have a variety of PDMs. One of the main ways we ask that small business try to connect with us to do business with the VA, to find out about doing business with the VA, is via our small business liaisons. The VA has small business liaisons stationed throughout the country, and they're the primary means to get, I would call, more real-time information about the products and service needs for the area that small business liaison supports. Next, people will ask, so what's the difference between OSDBU and a small business liaison? As I said before, small business liaisons are located nationwide to offer advice to veteran-owned small businesses, okay? And as part of the information that you'll receive, as with my handout, will be the URL to contact a small business liaison. In many cases, both the small business liaison's telephone number and email address is available. So that's a very, powerful tool that you can use in order to get, information and coordinate with the individual. That's basically an interface between industry and that geographic area that they're supporting. VA OSDBU serves as an advocate as it relates to policies and procedures which support utilization of stbosbs and VOSBs. And as I said before, VA routinely coordinates with the head of contracting activities for such things as submitting recommendations for small business goals established by the department. And the SBLs are aware of those goals. One of the new initiatives that I want to talk about that we have begun is a program called the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business Initiative. That particular initiative is focusing on our efforts to increase the utilization of women veteran-owned small businesses. As part of the information that you'll receive, you'll also get the contact information for the director of that program, Ms. Michelle Gardner-Ince. Lastly, but not leastly, I want to remind everyone that one of the best ways that you can help the VA and help yourself is when we send out source to SART information, RFIs, or RFPs, please respond to that, because by doing that, you help to influence the procurement of future, contracts. That's all I have. Thank you very much. And when we get to the question and answer period, I'll be more than happy to answer the questions you may have.
Good morning. I'm Gwen Miles. I'm your small business advocate located here in Atlanta, working for Department of Health and Human Services out of Washington, D.C. I'm just located here in Atlanta. I'm the small business advocate for CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Just a little bit about CDC and overview of some of our major program areas. Chronic diseases, environmental health, infectious diseases, injuries, birth defects, and emergency preparedness are just some of the things that we do at CDC. Our mission is to serve as a national focus for developing and applying all of the disease prevention and controls, environmental health, health promotion, and other activities that are designed to improve the health of the people of the United States. CDC spends about $6 billion a year in contracts. With that being said, we also spend about $5 billion in grants. So if you want to look at some CDC grants, you want to go to cdc.gov/grants. But getting back to the other opportunities, mostly we utilize the firm fixed price to do most of our procurements. We use time and material cost plus fee, cost only, and labor hour. Like I was stating earlier, CDC is here to take care of all of us. So 70% or more of our contracting dollars is spent on vaccines. And I'm sure you're aware with the pandemic, we had to spend a little more than 70%. But with that being said, 70+% for vaccines, 22% for services, which includes IT, supplies and services, software, hardware, and about 1% for construction. Our goals, small business goals, the overall small business goal is 10%. Small disadvantaged business is 5%. Woman-owned small business, 5%. Hub Zone is 3%, and service disabled vet, 3%. Last year, we did achieve and exceed our small business goals. Our challenges for CDC are the woman-owned small business, Hub Zone, and service disabled vet. So if you are either one of those, please reach out to me, send me your capability statements so that I can get it in front of our procurement personnel at CDC, and they can share it with their program folks to know that you, all of you great small businesses, are out there and ready to do work with CDC. And I know Mr. Marks stated that I am your small business specialist at CDC here in Atlanta. I'm also the advocate for SAMHSA. SAMHSA is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, also located in the Department of Health and Human Services. Our mission at SAMHSA is to reduce the impact of substance abuse and mental illness of America's communities. Congress established SAMHSA in 1992 to make substance abuse and mental disorder information, services, and research more accessible to all of you. Some of our core principles at SAMHSA: supporting the adoption of evidence-based practices, increasing access to the full continuum of services for mental and substance use disorders, engaging outreach to clinicians, grantees, patients, and the American public, collecting, analyzing, and disseminating data to inform policies, programs, and other practices, and also to recognize that the availability of mental and substance abuse disorder services is integral to everyone's health. With that being said, wanted to talk about just a couple of opportunities at SAMHSA. Well, we have one, like I said, SAMHSA does more grants probably than anything. So you might want to go to the website at SAMHSA. That is http://sbms.hhs.gov. This information will be given to you later in some documents that I have shared with the team. But the one worth mentioning, the SAMHSA IDIQ. SAMHSA has 6 domains of IDIQs that we utilize, where we have Hub Zone, Service Disabled Vet, and woman-owned small businesses on each of those domains. We also utilize a lot of 8As for these different domains. And the large IDIQ that I'm talking about will probably be coming out in February 2022. And it is going to be out of the 5th and 6th domains. Okay, a little about CDC, some information that's not on our forecast, and our forecast can be found at the HHS website. That you would like to go to the hhs.gov/small business. You can also find on FedBiz our forecasted opportunities, but we would love for you to go to the hhs.gov site, because there's a wealth of information that talks about registering and how to get registered to do business with HHS, CDC, and SAMHSA. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that in your questions later. But a couple of procurements at CDC we might want to look at, or I want to put in the forefront, would be a small business, woman-owned, veteran-owned, and a hub zone sources sought. That sources sought for the CDC is a nationwide facilities planning and real estate advisory services and international facilities program. It is being conducted, like I said, to determine small businesses, woman-owned, veteran-owned, and hub zone capabilities. The NAICS code is 541330. And Jenny Matt, that's jmatt at cdc.gov, will be your POC. All of this information, like I said, will be forthcoming. Other procurements, we have a support for polio eradication and vaccine preventable disease activities in the sub-Saharan Africa Afro team. Right now, Avram is the incumbent, but we're getting ready to come out with other procurements or add to this IDIQ, and it is going to be a firm fixed price. The NAICS code is 541990. It is going to be 8A competitive. The sources sought generated for the 8A capabilities will be posted on betasam.gov. The RFP is going to be released, we're hoping, on June 28th. Award date, August 30th. The contracting officer is Tim Barnes. That's tim.barnes@cdc.gov. Another, we have one more, and that is going to be the support for the polio eradication in the Mediterranean region, or the EMRO team. Then, like I said, the next code is 541990. Its anticipated release is July 8th. Award date, September 10th. Tim Barnes is also the specialist on that. Another procurement, we have a building resilience for STLT responders. This is a toolkit to be developed, non-serviceable, firm fixed price. This is a new award. Next code, 541-715, 541-712. The contract vehicle that we're using on this is going to be the OASIS and eBuy. You'll find that CDC utilized the CIOS P3, P4. We use FedBid, eBuy, and other vehicles in order to procure some of the items at CDC. CDC does not have a large IT contract, so other vehicles, like I said, will be utilized. Another procurement will be the developing the public health emergency preparedness and response evidence-based through scoping and systematic reviews. I know that's a lot, but this information will be made available to you. This is a firm fixed price, 541-5715 and 541-712. It'll also be an OASIS eBuy out of Pool 4. Right now, we're looking at a competitive. Lauren Peel is the contracting officer. That's Lauren, Lauren .Peel, Peel @cdc.gov. Those were just a few that are not on the actual forecast. But if you go to hhs.gov/small business, you will be able to find CDC's along with the other operating divisions within the Department of Health and Human Services. All of their forecast information will be posted there. And I think that's about it for the overview of CDC and SAMHSA. I probably did not give you our goal achievements for SAMHSA, but their small business goals are 30%. Last year they met and exceeded with 41%. The small disadvantaged business goals, 5%, woman-owned, 5%, Hub Zone, 3%, and Service Disabled Vet, 5%. Any questions that you might have will be answered, I'm sure, later in the Q&A. And I just want to thank the team and all of you for participating in this event today.
Good morning. I am excited to be a part of this great event. I'm Antwinette Lashon Goodman-Cooper. I know that's a mouthful, but I go by Lashon. Friends and family call me Lashon. I've responded to Small Business Lady. Like I said, I respond to a lot of things. I am in Atlanta, and my area of responsibility is the South Atlantic Division, but I am here representing the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. I bring you greetings from the Lieutenant General Spellman, who is the commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and Miss Elizabeth Mudd, the Associate Director of Small Business at the Corps. The Corps is a very dynamic organization, and we're doing some dynamic things. Our mission is to deliver vital solutions in collaboration with our partners to secure our nation, energize our economy, and reduce disaster risk. From building buildings, and as Mr. Marks mentioned, the dams, the bridges that you may drive across sometimes that are on federal highways, we're doing that. We are remediating lands, and we're operating our recreational parks. The Corps does a whole lot of stuff. If you see that Corps castle, the emblem that you see next to my name, that's who we are, and that's where we are. The Corps is responsible for all of the vertical construction on the Army installations and all of the Air Force bases. We've also been tapped to do a lot of the VA hospital rebuilds. We're also responsible for ensuring that our waterways are dredged to allow passage of ships that carry the commodities that we use every day. We are also protecting and restoring the nation's environment. By that, we're restructuring and doing some things with the Everglades. That's almost a $20 billion project. We're also doing some work along the Louisiana coastline and the waterways throughout the United States. The Corps is also responsible for cleaning up the contaminated sites, Army sites and Air Force sites that have hazardous material, toxic waste, radioactive waste and materials. You probably heard of FUDs, and that's what that is, where we're cleaning up those formerly used defense sites. And of course, the Corps responds to national disasters, hurricanes, floods, fires, and we jumped in there with the COVID response too. The Corps is a huge contributor to the nation's economy. Last fiscal year, the Corps added over $25.5 billion, and that's billion with a B, to the nation's economy. And of that $25.5 billion, $8.5 billion with a B went to small business. That $8.5 billion does not include dollars that went to small businesses via the subcontract route. We have very, very aggressive subcontracting goals. So whenever we put these large contracts into place, we also pass that on to the prime contractors that are getting those awards. And since I'm here representing USACE, but I represent the South Atlantic Division, I will shamelessly plug the Tyndall Air Force Rebuild. This is a $3 to $4 billion program, so there's lots of work. We are literally rebuilding the Air Force Base because it was wiped off the map when Hurricane Michael came through. So let me tell you a little bit how the Corps is structured. We are kind of like an inverted pyramid. The further you go up the chain, the further you get away from the operational contracting. At the headquarters and at the division office, we don't perform any of the operational contracting. We are primarily the policymakers and the oversight arms of the Corps. All of our contracting is performed at the 48 districts and centers throughout the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. All of the district centers and the districts and centers have dedicated small business professionals who have intimate knowledge of the procurements that are coming down the pike. So having said that, if you call me, I'll talk your ear off. I love to talk, but I can't talk about the requirements that are really coming down the pike. What I can do is point you in the right direction and get you going to where you need to be with regard to talking to the right people. So having said that, I will be participating in the matchmaking this afternoon. If you're interested in helping the Corps build strong, please drop in. Our email address, which is a generic email address at the headquarters, is small business headquarters at usace.army.mil. But our website is www.usace.army.mil/business, BUSINESS with WITH US /small SMALL business, BUSINESS. That website actually contains the link for all of the small business professionals located throughout the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And that is the best website to go to find out where we are. And it also has our forecast information. So I look forward to answering questions, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Marks.
Well, thanks very much. And I'll tell you what, the information is so good that I was looking at these questions that I'm getting ready to ask you, and I will tell you that you covered a lot of the things. So now you make my homework even tougher. And so, but I'm going to start with my great colleague there from the VA and the Navy veteran, Antoine. And you talked about the forecasts and the things that where we could go and find those. Do you have the website that you could share with us where to actually find those at?
Yes, I do. One of my colleagues will go ahead and put that in the chat. Give me a few minutes, but I'll get that to you. Okay.
And while that's taking place, I really love the explanation of, we're veterans first. I believe it was, but not veterans always. And when I'm talking with folks, I tell them that. So, because you get companies that are not veteran owned, and they say, well, I really can't do business with the VA. Well, that's not really true.
That's correct.
And so, getting to know a veteran that owned company is one way to do that. And, greatly appreciate that clarification, because there are companies out there that I know, we know that have the capabilities that you need, and but not sure how they come and do business with you. Okay. But another question, Antoine, is what initiatives from the OSBU office have you provided that you all provide to promote utilization of veteran-owned small businesses?
Tommy, as I said before, one of the biggest initiatives that we have is we do numerous small business events. Again, we want veterans to come, but it's not limited to veterans. So we don't restrict any firm, any socioeconomic firm from attending our events. And that's huge. And like I said, it's not just about the VA opportunities. We will partner with other government agencies. My office has a lot of experience on putting on small business networking events. And because of that experience, we will team with agencies such as my esteemed colleagues on the panel now to say, hey, if you have the need for small business, which would include veteran-owned small business,
right,
and you are trying to do market research, because really these small business events is tantamount to doing market research. If you've got the need, we've got the talent to put on the event. The two come together. You win, we win, small business wins. So that's why I encourage people to continue to go to our website to on our events page to see the upcoming events. And I encourage my colleagues on the panel with me now, if you have a need to increase the small business community's knowledge about upcoming procurements that you have, please feel free to call me. Gwen and Antwinette, call my office, call me, and we can definitely get something going. We typically take about 6 to 8 weeks lead time to get things done. But we can do it. Like I said, we've got the skill. We do virtual business networking events such as this. We typically do it in two parts. The first part being where you put out the information. The second part where we allow the program office to decide who they want to see to do 15 to 30 minute one-on-one conversations. That's like the next level. And so again, that's what we like to do. We also work with large firms who have subcontracting and teaming opportunities for small businesses. So those are all the initiatives that we do. And like I said, it's been extremely successful. We've had a firm, true story, he was trying to get in with 3M for years. And due to the relationship that we had with 3M, we brought him in amongst with other large businesses. They were doing an event. This gentleman actually said when he saw the advertisement, he thought it was a sham, right? But he said, you know what, let me take a shot. So he put, registered, he was about to not show up. And he said, you know what, I'm not gonna show up this thing. I think it's a scam because it's free, blah, blah, blah. So he actually showed up. He actually showed up in shorts.
Wow.
To his embarrassment. Because this was legit, for real. This is when we were still doing events prior to COVID in my business engagement center. And he just couldn't thank us enough about the fact that, he'd been trying all this time to get in with 3M. And just because of how we were able to make that connection happen with him and others that attended. He got to talk to 3M representatives for 20 minutes about how potentially he can help them meet their needs. And so that's what I talk about. And for the audience to know, we believe in synergy amongst the federal agencies. And so because of our experience in doing events, we are more than happy to work with another federal agency to put something together that benefits everybody.
And speaking of events, I mean, we all know before COVID, your capstone event had been the national meeting that you would hold right after Thanksgiving, before Christmas.
Correct.
Is that in the plans this year, or? Well,
that's a good question, Tommy. Like all the other federal agencies, we are waiting to see what happens on the national landscape with respect to the pandemic. As you know, every day there's new information about what's happening, and so we're really at the behest of seeing what the national healthcare professionals guide, with the administration guides and things like that. So when things seem to be more on a stable track, I would know. But this time we're kind of pause and wait with everybody else.
Okay. So we got Gwen on already, so she can carry that back to Atlanta, to the headquarters. That's where all that information comes out of. So Gwen, having said that, not putting you on the spot, and I think you hit the nails on the head too about one of the questions we had, and we're going to get to some audience questions, but does one have to register with the Big Family Hhs Cdc in order to do business?
Yes, thank you for that. For HHS, I ask all of you, and I put it in the actual chat link, but to register as a small business in our directory at HHS, please go to https://mysbcx.hhs.gov/home. It is in the chat box. Yep. That's where you'll register your business. Once you register there, you'll get to find all of the contracting opportunities for all of the operating divisions, to include CDC and SAMHSA. We ask that you upload your capability statements. And for me personally at CDC, if you send me your capability statement, I will send you back a vendor registration, a small Excel sheet for you to register with me personally. So when I get emails from my contracting team or from the program officers about, Gwen, do you have an 8A or do you have a service disabled vet? I can go to my own vendor Excel and look and find those small business vendors and share your information that way. But we look forward to having you all register in SBCX. That is the place to be if you wanted to do business with HHS, CDC, and SAMHSA.
Thanks, Gwen, very much. So Miss Antwinette, the magic question, number one question from everybody is, how do I get to those small business professionals, program managers, and of course, key decision makers, which most of the folks out there, they consider that the contracting officers, which I would, having been one, say that's really not the case, because they just sign contracts. But how did it go about doing that? Go ahead.
As I mentioned, the best way to get into the Corps of Engineers is through those district and center small business professionals. They truly are your door to the Corps. And that website has been listed, the USACE.army.mil, Business with Us, small business. That's the best link to go to find the small business representatives in your area. They will actually talk to you about the requirements that they have. You can give them your capabilities briefings, and they will see if it's a good match. And even if you're not a good match for that district or that center, they may be able to point you in an area where you hadn't even considered. A lot of times we'll get IT companies that reach out to us, but we don't do a lot of IT. We can point you in the direction to where something may be a fit for you. We do a lot of construction, and we may be doing construction in one area that that's not really specific to you, but we may have another district that we can refer you to. So like I said, talking to that district, the district and center small business representatives is the best way to go. Now, if you have a contract already and you're having issues and you can't seem to get it solved, when you can reach out to the division at that point, and the division people usually can dig in there and help you out a whole lot.
Okay, greatly appreciated. So I'm gonna call my back room guys and find out what questions we might have from the audience that we can fill.
Good morning, everyone.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I have one from Art Jones. He asks, "Hi, Ms. Miles. We have ventured towards having greater control of one pandemic. There is another that continues to grow in the Black community. That is HIV/AIDS. Please share if this might be an area of concern for the CDC. If so, Dream Factory has orchestrated a comprehensive prevention program that I would love to share with you."
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the question. What I ask is that please send me your capability statement. If you have a white paper to share, you can go to cdc.gov/white paper. There is a system there where you can drop your white paper into CDC. But also, like I stated earlier, send me your capability statement. I will get it in front of the contracting team. They will get it in front of their program officers or their cores so that we will know you are out there and that you have information that you would like to share with us to assist us in all of our procurements.
Thank you very much, Gwen. Claudia, any other questions?
No other questions for the panelists. So if the audience wants to pose any questions to the panelists, please post them in the chat.
Mr. Marks, while we're waiting, can I give a shameless plug again?
Oh, please. I'll send an invoice later.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. The Corps is planning their capstone event with SAME, the Society for American Military Engineers. It's going to be November 17th through the 19th. It's right now, we are planning a hybrid event where most of it will be in person, but there will be some virtual aspects of it. It is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia at the Georgia World Congress Center. Like I said, should be a great event.
Yeah, well, I can attest to that. I will tell you that mark your calendars. And a lot of organizations are actually doing hybrid events where you have an option to go virtual or be in person. Still based on it, as Antoine said, based on what's going on with our current situation. But the SAME, as they call it for short, is an outstanding event. And if you're in that arena, if you're in construction, that's where you want to be just before Thanksgiving, before we start eating that turkey. And,
absolutely.
You meet them all there. It's a great event.
And Tommy and Antwinette, I'd like to pile on to that. Back in 2018, VA partnered with SAME to do a construction-only event.
Yes.
And so for those that are in the construction, architectural, and engineering fields, it's a great opportunity to talk to people other than government also. I think that's really the big thing, that you get a cross-pollination between government and industry. And you'd be surprised because of how, government, goes about things and thinks, and how industry goes about and thinks. There's a lot of synergy. There's a lot of, great information that's shared, and people walk away with a different perspective. And I would just suggest to the small businesses that are considering to go, think about that. Think about the opportunity to change somebody's perspective about an approach. True story related to construction. The VA at one point was redrawing a procurement map as it relates to supporting the national cemeteries throughout the country. We were developing a procurement and had, big swaths of areas to support. Based on some interaction with industry, we actually did an event. We wound up changing the map to some degree, because some firms are saying, hey, look, that area is too big. Because we were like, why can't we get enough people to do work in this particular area? And we found out because some of the areas were too big, some of the areas too small. There were some other dynamics that, quite frankly, we didn't know. So again, just supporting Antwinette in the SAMI event, I think it's a great opportunity. So if you're in that field, strongly recommend you go.
And look, I will add this, that all the events, to include, as we sit today, we're actually competing, and we're fortunate to have Gwen with us, because HHS for the last 2 days, beginning yesterday, they do Access to Success, which is a great event. That's their annual industry day, actually. Yes. 2 days running. And so
thanks, Tommy, for that. That was going to be my alibi. We are in the process right now, HHS, of doing the Access to Success, and I'm going to have a hard stop at 11:30 to get back to that, because I'm on a panel.
Right.
But with that being said, we just completed our NCMA Atlanta CDC Small Business Month in May. Of course, I had our local VA office along with Miss Lashon Goodman-Cooper that participated in those events. But I think Mr. Marks stated earlier that I am a small business committee member on the National Contract Management Association Atlanta chapter. And so I am always hosting events along with the chapter. Of course, the Atlanta chapter is the best chapter. But with that being said, please go to ncmaatl.org for a list of those events that are coming up, and also to see several of our outreach events within HHS. You can go to that same website, the https://mysbcx.hhs.gov home. Go to that website and you can see all of our outreach events. And please note that every second Tuesday of every month, HHS hosts what we call our vendor outreach event, where you can go into the website, register for that event. You will be able to speak to all of our operating division small business specialists. It's a full day event. You can have meetings, one-on-one sessions with all of the specialists. So I wanted to make sure I get that in. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you having me. And always, you can give me a call. You can send me an email. I answer my phone and I answer emails. I'm old school. I learn from the best. Folks like Tommy and Alice, and back in the day, Tracy Pinson, they were my mentors when I was with DOD before coming to HHS. And, I love what I do. I love my job and been an advocate for your small businesses. And I am here to assist in any way I can. So thank you all again.
Thank you, Gwen, very much. And I would just tell folks that at all these events, when they host these things, it's not, the key is really you get to network, number one. And as Antoine said, it's not just, when you say SAMI, we say it's the Society of the Military Engineers, but it's all, the industry folks are there. There's more of them, trust me, than there are military walking the floors. So you get to talk with folks on both sides of the table where opportunities can exist to do work. Okay. So I'll ask my team one more time. Are there any questions that came into the chat? We got about maybe 3 minutes before we're going to go to, we're going to close this out and take a networking lunch break. And Miss Miles is going to go to back to HHS, where they've been doing things for 2 days, hopping over there.
Yes, we have a question for Mr. Broughton. Can stbosb firms bid on VA opportunities if they are not currently in VIP?
The short answer is yes. But remember now, veterans first, not veterans only. So if there are 2 or more veteran companies that can do that work, that particular procurement will be made a set aside. So a non-VA verified firm, right, will be considered amongst the group of another socioeconomic category, like small or whatever the case may be. But here's the thing, though. I got to put in, as my colleague Antoinette say, a shameless plug. Currently, VA OSDBU, through our Center for Verification and Evaluation, will process a application from a firm to be considered designation as a VA, STVOSB or VOSB in about 40 days. Regulatory time is 60 days. We provide free resources for veteran-owned small business who are not VA verified to help them with their application. Don't necessarily need a lawyer. I will tell you, I ran that program for about 5 years. I put all the customer service things in place. If you choose to use a lawyer, that's just money you have to burn. I don't think you need it. So knowing that the application processing time is fairly quickly, why would you not want to put in an application and try to get verified? So now you could be in that the higher picking order. Just a thought, not a sermon.
I know, it's a great, not a great, it's more than a great thought, Antoine, because I often also tell folks when I'm counseling them, I mean, most everything that we do, federal government, has already been paid for by taxpayer dollars. But if you choose to hire Tommy Marks to walk you through the process to get that CVE, I'll sign you up and you can write me a check. So, I'm just saying that's for 8A certified, any of the government certifications for that matter. But I appreciate that those comments. So look, it's been a great panel, past my expectations. And, I'm getting notes from my boss, so y'all making me look really good. I want you to know. Okay. And, but I can't take credit for all of this. I want to thank Alice Williams for the coordination she did to put the panel together. And again, thank you very much for gracing us with your appearance and providing the information you did. And we will share with you all the final recordings of all the sessions that you can share with your networks. And thanks again. We're going to leave from here. And for the folks in the audience, this will be the next half hour is what we call the MBE, the MBE Network and Luncheon. There is a Zoom room that you can click on and go and meet folks. Bring your virtual lunch. It's your own virtual brown bag, and enjoy. Thanks much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.